Welcome, everyone. You are at a deep dive, which is a monthly program put on by Entrepreneurs Forever. Every month, we put on a different program. Our core program, which I think most of you probably know, is our monthly peer groups. But sometimes there's stuff you just need to know about that's not going to come up in your monthly peer group. And that's where I come up with these topics. And I knew this was a good topic when my local paper published this weekend milking AI for all it's worth. And it shows, I don't know if you can see it, cows using AI. And I think if they have figured out at a dairy how to use cows, how to use artificial intelligence to make a dairy work and for cows, then it's something we all need to learn about. So here's what we're going to try to do today. We're going to do some quick introductions and tell you a little bit about Entrepreneurs Forever for any of you who might not know. I'm going to tell you about our next programs because I have found that if I don't tell you about the upcoming programs before I get into it, I completely forget to come back. So we're going to do that. Then our guest presenter is going to do his presentation and he'll go for about an hour. And then we'll do a Q&A. And I think the Q&A could be really fun this time, including hopefully some show and tell. This is not metrics that matter. This is AI. But our mission is to empower all small business owners to grow thriving businesses that sustain their families and support their communities. If you're not already a member and you want to learn more about us, you can attend one of our weekly information sessions, and the link is right there, and it's on the website as well. My next learning opportunities, we're doing a deep dive in 1 month on emotional intelligence, how your feelings excuse me, reflect how you run your business, and a replicable sales process for our next Forever Forward. Sorry, frog in my throat. Note this presentation does not take place of professional advice from your own paid advisors. And without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing, introduce our guest. Brian, take it from here.
Thanks, Deborah. And hey, everyone, I'm excited to be here. I'm not sure about that whole professional advice thing. I'm not sure if I'm offended or if I'm like relieved now that the pressure is off. So thank you very much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. The topic for May, the social and emotional intelligence, we're actually, as part of the Meet Ben series of programs, doing the same exact thing in June. So the Meet Ben program is a monthly series of topics of importance to technology founders, small manufacturers, service providers, those folks who are running entrepreneurial small businesses, and hopefully to turn them into entrepreneurial big businesses. So if you're interested in learning more about the Meet Ben program, you can go to tinyurl.com, Meet Ben-masterclass, and you can see all of the programs that we have scheduled up through July, and then we'll continue to do so throughout.
And Brian, because I was choking, I didn't even get a chance to really introduce you and who Ben Franklin is. So please feel free to do that as well.
I'll do that in just a couple of minutes. It's actually part of the slide. So I really do want to thank Deborah and all of her colleagues at Entrepreneurs Forever. We've had a really great relationship with them at the Ben Franklin Technology Partners. Many of you, no matter where you are in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, have a Ben Franklin person like me as a portfolio manager in your community, in your neighborhood. I'm always happy, of course, to get you connected to help you if you're interested in learning more about what Ben Franklin does and how we provide our services at no cost. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that everyone relaxes. The good news is that AI will not kill your business. I know that you've heard all the doom and gloom about journalism's going away and doctors are going away and radio people are going away. Like, AI will not kill your business, but the people who know how to use AI absolutely will. And so here's an example, and you see these hundreds and hundreds of times a day on various social media. Someone publishes a photo of their house and say, I would really like to know what it's like if this were painted white. So here's the first response. Here's what you asked for. And then, of course, somebody else says, well, here's my take on what that looks like. And then somebody else gives their version of it. What AI gives is these three people and the 100 other answers that were sent because of this one request. What if this was a real estate agent who now knows that Karen Harris is looking for a new house? Or maybe it's a contractor who does painting. Or maybe it's an exterior designer who understands that now Karen is interested in what Karen is interested in. These tools will help them win business while you're stuck in the dirt, stuck in the on the side of the road if you're not able to exercise those. So that's what really today is going to be about. It's going to be a very, very high level overview of some of the tools. We'll even have some fun and use some of the tools that you can use to help your business grow. This will not be a complete end-to-end dive into all of the AI capabilities. It's impossible. AI is growing so quickly and the various tools are growing so quickly, it'd be impossible. But there will be a lot of references in this presentation to various tools, to various programs, to various resources that you can use, and you'll have access to this full presentation afterwards. Deborah will have that. I'm more than happy to get that to you if you connect to me through LinkedIn. So really the idea here is adopt or perish. So what we're looking at is a room full of architects, probably in the mid-50s. And you can see that there were these massive tables in the room and everyone was working on, the plumbing or the electricity or the steps or whatever they were working on. And it was expensive. It was slow. It didn't allow the architectural company to expand very quickly. But now there are modern tools, and I'm not even talking AI. I'm just talking about regular old new tools like computers, like networked computers, like virtual reality, where you can quite literally put on a VR headset and walk through the drawing as if it was a real factory or a real office. Some of you in the Erie market may be familiar. Last week, a Japanese company which had purchased an Erie-based company, we did a groundbreaking for them, right? And they had set up at that groundbreaking where a station where you could put a VR headset on and you could actually walk through the building. Now you didn't have to walk, you had a little joystick kind of a thing. But it was really, really interesting to go from conceptual ideas on a paper to actually being able to walk through. That's the power of technology. And this is technology even before AI. It had nothing to do with AI, right? So I'm always fascinated by, the next generation of technology is sometimes slow to adopt. We've never seen adoption like we have with AI. So here are some tools related to adopt or perish. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these. I will go through a few where there are tools that can help expand your creative potential. There are tools to help produce studio quality video. There are tools that can help you build software applications using large language models. There's certainly personalized learning tools, and there's sales tools. And the latest 800-pound gorilla is called Claude. Claude AI is making a real run at ChatGPT or OpenAI, which is the company that builds ChatGPT. So Claude is a very, very valuable tool. And it really kind of do almost anything faster, better, and cheaper than OpenAI and ChatGPT. So Claude is something I would encourage you to look at and look through. So before we sort of dig in any further, who's me? Who am I? So I'm a serial tech entrepreneur, exited multiple times. Sort of the big exit occurred in 2015. I and my team built a company called Busy Event. We're a mobile event technology platform as a service. I'm from St. Louis, moved to Erie in November of 2015. And we did it all, right? From bootstrapping all the way through angel and various rounds of VC. But once I exited, I got super bored and I started looking for my next great adventure. And I had three things that I was absolutely critically passionate about. One was working with fellow entrepreneurs. One is the thing that I love the most, which is mentoring and supporting and interacting with entrepreneurs and sort of helping them get through some of the challenges that they have. And then if I were lucky enough to be in a great position, and I am fortunately with Ben Franklin, have the ability to write big checks. So my four professional goals are to find interesting ideas to commercialize, mentor committed entrepreneurs, collaborate and build partnerships like we have with Entrepreneurs Forever and so many other great regional partners, and then invest in tech startups and small manufacturers. And for those of you that want to stalk me on LinkedIn, you can scan my QR code or just look me up on LinkedIn. If you do connect on LinkedIn, send me a message. I'm more than happy to send you all kinds of interesting things. I won't spam you. I'm not going to just continue to send you junk. I'll send once some interesting stuff. And of course, it'll include this presentation. Before we dig in, a few people have asked a question.
They're just trying to make sure that they get that deck afterwards.
Got it. Okay, cool. If there are questions in the chat, Deborah, just let me know.
I will do that.
All right, well, let's have some fun. So we're going to create a short form video with a tool called OSA or ASA. So let me get over here. I've already created a couple, but let me show you how easy this is to do. First of all, you have to kind of get set up. You know, you've got to put your account in and all of that. But first, you choose whether you want it to be a male, a female, whether you want it to be American or childish or young. You get to make all of these various choices on the voice that you want for this. So we're going to start off with Bruce. And we want Bruce's style to be futuristic and sci-fi. And you'll see that it changes the image over here onto the right. And then we want it to be a freak show, because why not? And then we can choose to be slow or normal or fast. And then I can choose the subtitle color. So let's make it red, and you can see that that changed. All right, and so now we're going to insert the script. And so what I'm going to say is I'd like to learn more. Oops. Oh, oops. Hold on. You're seeing my previous work. I'd like to learn more about how awesome Deborah Gallant is and her previous career in radio. All right, so now I'm gonna create a video. And it'll take 5 or 6 or so minutes, so we'll come back to that. But let me show you the video that I created earlier.
There is an amazing organization designed to help entrepreneurial startups. It's called Entrepreneurs Forever. There is an amazing organization designed to help entrepreneurial startups. It's called Entrepreneurs Forever.
I don't know if you could you hear the audio okay? Yeah. So this literally took me 15 seconds to select all of that. Imagine what you could do with your business, and you can have a minute-long video, a 2-minute-long video, talking about your business, talking about the services that you provide, and on and on and on. So we'll come back to ASA here in just a little bit.
And this is free.
This is free.
Okay.
Yeah, this is free. A lot of the tools are free right now. Now, this is the basic tool, right? If you want the super duper fancy schmancy tool, you can obviously pay for that. But for the basics, while you're just sort of learning and just sort of getting your feet wet, there's tons of free tools, and I'm providing all links to a lot of those as we go.
So one of the things I just want to clarify here is it's being very literal in this case, and the intelligence is creating, weaving together a video. It's not going to go and actually look for my career in radio and give you the facts. That's a different kind of artificial intelligence.
I don't know. Let's find out in a few minutes. Let's see what it comes back with.
Okay. Someone else had a question. You can unmute and ask. Nope.
So the power of any of these tools is something that I call stacking, or that is called stacking. We'll talk about stacking here in a little bit, but this is literally just a video creator. I don't know how much more AI intelligence there is behind it, but we'll find out here in just a second. And again, as Deborah mentioned, if anyone has a question.
So the question is, how much control do you have over the visuals? Could you have put some of your own logos and stuff in there?
You can actually put your own video, images into the video. Again, this is the basic freemium level. You're going to get what you get. As you increase the per monthly cost, then you have a lot more flexibility in the tools.
And another great question, who owns this content?
Well, that's a really good question, right? You can use it. There is a terms of service that gives you an unlimited global license to use it. But do you really own it? I'm not sure. You will see, if we go back here, you will see that you can download the video, so you can take it and go wherever you want with it. But it's a really great question on who actually is the owner of that material. We're a bit of a Wild West here in terms of what's going on with AI. So let's pull back 30,000 feet. What is AI? So AI is a tool, right? It isn't magic. It isn't whatever. It's a tool that you can use just like you use a Mac or a PC or a screwdriver or your smartphone. It's simply a tool to help create solutions to business challenges or creative challenges or any kind of challenge. It really does provide you with the way to get to better, faster, cheaper. In essence, it's computer systems performing super complex tasks. Now, it also takes advantage of human reasoning over time, and it can do some decision making. It certainly does problem solving, and it's super great at pattern indication or pattern recognition. That is one of the more powerful elements of AI. There are multiple kinds of artificial intelligence. Machine learning, which some of you probably are familiar with, is one. You've certainly noticed when you go back to Amazon, somehow a better version of the shoes you were looking at yesterday, but you didn't buy is available. Hey, you might like this. That's machine learning. That's been around for a while. Deep learning takes that to a completely different level, and it then makes it, instead of you, it's people like you who can go deep. They can amass sort of the commonalities, if you will, and provide deep learning. Natural language processing. If any of you have ever used Google's Translate, there's an app that uses Google Translate. You can say, I'd like to know where the bus stop is. And you turn it and then comes out in Japanese. That's natural language processing. And then there are large language models. Here's some examples. ChatGPT and Google Translate, not only natural language processing, but also large language models. Netflix and Amazon, you might like this. That's the machine learning component. And then Tesla uses a type of AI called synthetic vision, So the automatic driving component of Tesla, you're starting to see a lot more of that. That's all synthetic vision. All of these are broadly grouped into artificial intelligence. I love this quote. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So
Did Ben Franklin say that?
no, that was Arthur Clarke. Arthur Clarke.
Science fiction writer. Mhm.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at some of the potential benefits. There's really repeatable accuracy that AI can provide versus Excel spreadsheets or you just remembering. Assembling vehicles or computers, it's really good at doing the same thing over and over and over again and doing it repeatedly and accurately. There are decreased operational costs due to greater efficiency of those machines. Although I did see a video where an AI-based automobile a robot was literally dying. It was like leaking its oil and its tubes were flying around. But generally, it has decreased operational costs. You can increase personalization within digital services and products. So you've certainly, again, received emails which seem very random, but it knows a lot about you. And, it's all designed to help you click the link and go buy something. Improved decision making in certain circumstances is really a highly powerful benefit of AI. And the ability to quickly generate new content, such as text or images, or as we'll see here in just a little bit, the video from Asa. Of course, with every good side, there's also potential downside and things that you need to think through. So, as we talked about, job loss due to increased automation. When I first went to work out of college, I was working for a company that was in the magazine business. They were what's called pre-press. Pre-press was the laying out of the magazine, literally page by page, and then assembling it and sending it off to a press to actually be printed. When I got there, about 5 people using Macs did everything that about 100 people did years before. So there will be job loss due to increased automation. As a business owner, that's an opportunity and also a challenge, but certainly as someone doing the work, it's an opportunity for you to learn the tools, leverage the tools, and not become one of the roadkill of the latest and greatest technology. AI is not 100% honest or true. There's certainly a big potential for bias or discrimination based on the data set that AI was trained on. So you need to be aware of, well, where is this information coming from? Much like when you read a newspaper. Does anyone read a newspaper anymore? Or online? Yes, right. Clearly you do. Or online magazines or even Facebook, right? Where's the data coming from? When they say 3 out of 5 dentists, well, is it really 3 out of 5 dentists, or is it the dental group who wants 3 out of 5 dentists to do something? So you have to be very careful with that. Certainly, there are huge cybersecurity concerns. About 2 months ago, one of our portfolio companies was getting an investment from another venture capital firm. And because of the use of cyber hacking and the way they did it, it was a variety of tools. The company lost a huge amount of money because someone went in, swooped in, and got into their bank account and took all the money out. So cybersecurity is not only a concern with AI. You've certainly heard of some of these stories where someone gets a random phone call in the middle of the night and it sounds like their daughter or their mother or their whoever. It's like, I'm trapped, I'm in a whatever, and now you're all worried and you send money to the bad guys. Those kinds of things are very possible with AI. A little secret that my family and I do, because of this, we've now instituted whenever one of us call each other, the very first thing we say is the family secret password. So if someone doesn't say the family secret password, it's probably not the real. Now, we've never had that happen, and we're probably being freaks, overly worried about it, but we all do that. AI can lead to a lack of transparency about how decisions are arrived at, and the potential to create misinformation is massive. I think we saw it a bit in the last presidential election. We're going to see it by tenfold for this one, and who knows what happens into the future. I really like that there are now, like if you're on Twitter or on Facebook, before you share something, it actually asks you, hey, do you want to read this before you share it? I really think that's a good thing. And we need more of those kinds of things as we go forward. So AI can hurt your business if you're not careful and if you're not aware of the power of these tools through cyber attacks and breaches and certainly potential damage of attacks. So let's talk a little bit about AI at the workplace. I see we have a couple of questions.
No, I was just mentioning deep fakes when you talked about the other thing. Can we see if ISA AI created the video?
Oh, the OSA video? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we do it? Is it all created yet? Let's see where we're at here.
I'm dying to know.
Oh,
Nope.
dang it. Video
It's
error.
got an error.
All right, let's do
That's
another.
what happens when you do things that are live. Don't worry about it. Go on.
Why did this create an error? I really don't like that. All right, let's see what happens. We'll come back.
All right.
All right, so AI in the workplace. AI is revolutioning software development. So if you're a software development company, it can take over some of the routine coding tasks so that your developers can conduct higher level work and actually increase value add. AI is transforming customer service. Companies will save money and time using AI customer service reps. There's a company in Erie called AutoQA, OTTOQA.com. One of the things that they're doing is they're taking the recording. I think you probably know this. Every customer service call is recorded. I think it even tells you this customer service call is recorded. They're taking every single recording, they're running it through an algorithm, and then they're evaluating, was the customer happy? Was the customer well served? Did the agent do a good job? Did the agent follow the prompts? It's a really, really interesting technology that's going to transform and improve, hopefully, customer service. AI is accelerating biotechnology in healthcare. Again, another company called First Ascent Biomedical. One of the horrible things about cancer is that there are certain cancers that doctors really don't know what to do. So the result is they just throw everything at the patient, hoping that something will work. Well, what First Ascent Biomedical is doing, they are literally taking AI and they're getting a tissue sample. They're running it through a biomedical AI that they've developed and saying, based on your DNA, based on your age, based on this kind of cancer that it is, blah, 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 these are the drugs that'll actually work for you. It's coming up later this month on Good Morning America. They're doing a 5-minute series, a 5-minute program using First Ascent Bio. You talk about, AI with cows. Well, well, this is AI for cancer. AI is going to be your new creative partner. Forget simple things like OSA. We're talking some really sophisticated tools, things that like Photoshop. If you've looked at what Adobe and Photoshop are doing lately, incorporating AI, really, really interesting and powerful stuff. Way, way more interesting and way better, frankly, than some of the things that we've seen. So keep your eye on what's going on in the creative world. And especially even if you aren't necessarily a creative, that gives you the power to be one. Like if your business is, let's say it's a massage business. right? You still do social media, you still do marketing, you still do stuff. You probably still pay for it, right? Because you're going to have to go get a creative agency to do that work. Well, maybe you can take over some of that with some of these super powerful tools. AI is definitely supercharging finance and investment. So in my world, we're leveraging AI to better understand the opportunities that companies come to us with and whether or not we should make a reasonable investment. There's a lot of things going on in the finance world that AI is really supercharging. One of the things that you are already starting to see in some banks, not all, but some, is security and validation. So if you call up TIAA, if you happen to have your retirement accounts with them, they can recognize your voice and they can recognize whether it's your voice or an AI generated voice. It's super interesting to secure you through their system. It's really super interesting. That's all large language models and pattern recognition. And, sometimes I have a cold. Sometimes I'm a little tired, or sometimes I'm a little whatever. It still knows that it's me, which is, I think, super fascinating. And then AI really is shaping, and these are what, eight of the things? There's hundreds and thousands of these. AI is really shaping the physical world. As we talked about before, as I showed you before, architects are coming up with really interesting designs at great volume and at great speed. So this factory that we talked about, that I walked around inside using VR glasses, it'll actually be fully stood up, 50,000 square feet facility. It'll be stood up by the end of this year. That's only because of the power of technology and, in their case, AI. And of course, things in HR and mental health and robotics and research and education and on and on and on. AI is really coming for everything. It's going everywhere. Joanne's little dog. I love that little dog there. It's going to be everywhere, which is exciting because that means your business can take advantage of AI as well. All right, here are some facts. 50% of all Americans use AI multiple times per week. Overwhelmingly millennials, Gen X and boomers. Come on, we got to catch up.
Am I using it and I don't know it?
That is a really good question. You probably are. This is actually the purposeful use of AI, where you're going and leveraging the tools to go build something. But yes, if you're calling into your bank, if you're talking to your doctor who's validated your whatever you've got going on through some sort of an AI-based system, probably you're a consumer of it and not knowing it. SMB, small and medium-sized businesses, use AI as a competitive advantage versus their larger competitors. 14% of SMBs actively integrate AI in their daily operations. We're working with a company right now that is teaching a lot of our other portfolio companies about how they use AI just using QuickBooks. QuickBooks has a really cool AI plugin to help you do better financial forecasting, right? What's the saying? A 3-year pro forma. The only thing you know about a 3-year pro forma is that it's wrong. You don't know whether it's wrong on the high side or wrong on the low side. So this AI plugin for QuickBooks is helping narrow the wrongness of your projections. 41% of SMBs use AI to focus on high value work, so that instead of having people just, pick up a widget, put widget in box, pick up a widget, put widget in box, there are a lot of other ways that AI can be used to take the mundane out of the daily work and actually get your people to provide higher value to your customers and to whomever. So some really interesting opportunities there. And then finally, 37% use AI to save costs and become more efficient. They use savings to pursue growth opportunities. They keep their prices stable for their customers. So this is a financial price advantage, and they also can increase wages. And then finally, a quarter of us use AI, or SMBs rather, use AI to expand access to remote talent. I love this idea that talent is no longer geographically bound. You quite literally can work almost anywhere for anyone. And AI is helping to expand that. It's not about Zoom, it's about company culture and what AI can do for you to help create that company culture and maintain that company culture. So, about a quarter of the small and medium sized businesses are doing that. James, you
Can you
came up.
can you give an example of that?
An example of?
Using AI for your culture and remote talent.
Yeah. So there's a company that I'm aware of in St. Louis because of my connections there that literally have workers all over at least all over the country. And so collectively, AI will call everyone together and say, let's take a 10-minute break, or let's do something, and let's really, be people first, and don't so much worry about the production schedule and those kinds of things. So it can be that voice in the loneliness that really helps people recognize that they're people and they have colleagues, and while they don't see them every day because they're not in the same place, that they still do have this camaraderie. So that's one example of how AI is being used to not only access remote talent, but support remote talent.
Just, do you know what they're doing when the AI calls them together?
So one of the things that I know that they're doing is they're talking about issues related to work-life balance. So it's talking about things, their system is smart enough to know, and obviously people have to opt in for this, but their system is smart enough to know that this person has a daughter who plays softball. And so it calls that out, right? Let's share more information about ourselves, our families, and our lives, and what's important. So AI can prompt those kinds of things. It also remembers what you said the last 3 meetings. And if you're maybe down in the dumps, or maybe something's not great, it can let your supervisor know, or a trusted colleague know, that maybe, James needs a phone call. Maybe I should just, stop pounding on the computer so much and give James a call and just see how James is doing. So it's really trying to help that with that work-life balance and the culture of the company, such that it makes it a little bit more human, and especially when you're not, sitting next to each other all day.
It's funny that it makes it more human by being kind of big brotherish. It's sort of counterintuitive, but if it prompts a person to say, hey, I noticed there's a lack of productivity here, or too many hours being worked, and then it sends you a message to prompt you, it's stuff you wouldn't know otherwise.
Well, you're, as a supervisor, you're busy too, doing whatever you're doing. So sometimes those things get overlooked, get passed by. So yeah, Big Brother, yeah, for sure, it's a little bit of Big Brother. But I think the reality is I'd rather have a Big Brother looking out for me and being, benevolent. Let's hope it's benevolent, rather than worrying about. So there's a company that we're working with right now. They're based in Erie, and it is a plugin for Zoom. And it notices the face and facial expressions and body language, even though it's just this much of me. It notices that, and it runs through its algorithm. Brian's been down the last 2 times we've done this. Like, his facial expressions are such that he may be having challenges. In a good company, in a company that cares about people, that's going to be brought to attention so it can be addressed. In a less benevolent company, you know exactly what's going to happen. So I think it's interesting that these tools are available. I don't know if we know all of the things that are going to ultimately result from that. But much like every other workplace, whether you have AI as a tool or you don't, it's always about the people and the management to make sure that they are using any tool that they have access to in a way that helps foster their people, foster their staff, and then drive the business. James, do you have a specific instance or interest in how something like that might be put to use in your small business?
Well, there's two questions kind of, or another, are they using like the paid version of GTP4 to maintain state with the AI, or they have their own proprietary engine?
So are the company in St. Louis that I was talking about? Yeah, and they're using Claude actually to
Okay.
do this, right?
Yeah, and that's what
they
you're
are
going to
paying
find.
for
A
it.
lot of these tools are ignore the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, or you're usually just using one of the big NLPs or the other engines. But you know, I'm a recruiting agency, so we have clients that do both remote, and my business has been remote since day one. And I know there's a big, you know, oh, you lose culture, you lose this, and I'm like, look, we shouldn't have to, right? I think there's creative ways to enable culture virtually. You know, I am a firm believer still of getting together maybe 4 times a year, twice a year, because I think once you mentally make that human contact, when I look at you on the Zoom, my mind can almost physically put you here. So I do believe there are solutions for the remote workforce to have just as much camaraderie and networking. It's just I've been waiting for mother necessity to create the invention.
I don't want to call her out, but if she's willing to come on camera or at least talk, I have a friend here in Erie who has I think almost completely remote workforce in food and beverage consulting. Stephanie, are you able to come and tell us how you maintain culture in your remote workforce?
Yeah, so I'm going to spare you the camera if I can. Um, I wasn't prepared to be on camera. Yeah, I have a global consulting firm, and we have sales, marketing, supply chain people all over the country. We've been in business for 9 years, and we've been remote the entire time. So we were virtual before it was cool. And, you know, like during COVID, I gave everyone a free, like the Big Daddy Zoom membership so they could keep in touch. And it's something that we just sort of kept. It's part of our, you know, something we do for employees because again, they're all over the country and they have family all over the country. But I mean, I don't know, it's just such a part of our DNA. We, you know, we have a bit of a rule that there are certain meetings where you have to be on camera where you can have the kind of eye connection, if you will. But we also have some folks on the team that are a little shyer or less, they like to people less. So we know that about them. If they get, I'm ADHD, sometimes I just get to the point where I'm so like done for the day. I can, like right now, I can listen, no problem, but I like just the act of the eye contact is tough for me. So, you know, we just give each other space to say that if that's where we are. But we just use a lot of technology, frankly, Zoom,
Yep.
Teams. And
So you
everybody's
don't have any office with people
Nope.
there, right? You're
Nope.
So
Compl-
one of the things that makes you work is you don't have anyone in proximity to each other working in an office and then a remote team. And that's where the disparity's coming, right?
Mhm.
Is when you have people that you work out with, they get promoted faster, they get treated better because they have a better relationship. You guys have to figure it out because that's all you got. You don't
Right.
even know what you don't have because you don't have it, right? So yeah, that's beautiful. I'm the same way. We've been remote since day one, and you know, you find out it's the individual who can work and the individual who has no self-discipline.
Well, and one of the things that we do, every single person that's hired, we don't use it to make a hiring decision, but every single person that comes in goes through it's called the PXT. So it's a scientifically valid sort of personality, a little bit of an IQ score, and work style. And so they sit down with their manager and each of them goes through it. So I am very fast paced. I am all intuition. I am a gas pedal. There's no brake. My COO is a mechanical engineer. And I swear to God, there are days when I just really want to get him with a shoehorn and get him moving, right? And he uses a lot of words. But what it does is it gives you a common language with your manager or with your direct reports, and then the team goes through it. So that's another thing that we do to make sure that everyone understands work style. And that's something I've done regardless of remote. I mean, I worked for big companies before this. This is always something I've done, because I think the more you understand sort of why people work the way they do, the less apt you are to jump to judgment about why they do things the way they do.
Yeah, I have to applaud you. Utilizing personality assessments and, predictive index, culture index, PXT, Myers-Briggs, understanding how you like to be communicated to. Not only that, self-awareness of yourself, but then understanding how your colleagues like to be communicated to. I mean, communication is the key, right?
This should be another deep dive. I want to give Brian a chance to talk about the tools. We're going to let him go for another 20 minutes. Stephanie, James, please stay on and we'll continue the conversation when we're not recording, because I think there's more meat on that bone. But I want Brian to talk about all the other ways we can use AI. Thank you both.
So I think what's important about the conversation that we just had is a lot of these things are done the way we've done them, and we've sort of grown up and figured out ways that make them work. And AI is a tool that will ultimately one day make that easier for us so that we can maintain these relationships and create the culture. And AI is just, again, it's just a tool. It's not magic. It's not secret sauce. It's just a tool to help us get there. So really good conversation. I appreciate you all having that. And Stephanie, thanks for contributing. So there's a lot of ways of putting AI to use in your small business. Obviously, there's marketing. We'll go back to OSA here in a second and see if that video worked out. And I've put some different tools that I think that I have found that are pretty effective. I use SendSpark a lot. It's a good way of doing outreach, and there's a way of doing video inside email, which is really interesting. That's in SoundSpark. I don't use a traditional lead management system. We have Salesforce at Ben Franklin. We use that, but there are, improved tools out there that allow you to leverage the power of AI. Some of them are bad. Let's admit it. Just because it says "and now with AI," that doesn't make it a good tool. You do have to sort of dig through some things. Oh, I did have that up. Sales and now operations. There's a really super cool one called Twinner Dev, that helps turn your website into a mobile app. Super easy, super simple. You literally copy and paste your URL into their thing, and it presents you with what really looks like your website as a mobile app. One of the tools that we use, or at least I use, is something called chatpdf.com. So we'll get very large, very voluminous documents, a lot of legal documents that we need to dig our way through. Chatpdf.com sort of pulls out the interesting stuff and gives us that in sort of an executive overview. What that allows me to do is get to a framework, a mental framework around which, now that I go read the document, now I have a mental framework in which I've already built my head. I like that one a lot. There's some really good tools like fireflies.ai, and there are a couple of others that can sit inside of your Zoom, and it'll take notes and categorize it and kind of organize it. I find those to be super useful. And then, as I mentioned earlier, QuickBooks is coming up with an Intuit Assist, which will be helpful in the operations, financial operations of your business. All right, so some of the power of AI. We talked about stacking. Let's go back to OSA and see what we have here. Yeah, so it works. So let's make sure that.
Why did this create an error? I really don't like that. Why did this create an error? I really don't like that.
Right,
Why?
so just a stupid little thing. Had I written something super long, it would have given that to me, and had I upgraded you know, to the pay for version, I can then use my own images and my own video. But what stacking does is now we're going to take that video and we're going to use it in a tool called repurpose.io. And so what repurpose.io does, did I already log in? Yeah, here's my account. So what I can do is I can take that video and in one place, I can spread it to YouTube, to TikTok, to Instagram, to Twitter, there's like 30 of them. Let's see. Yeah, there's all these different connections that you can make. So it really improves or makes more efficient your ability when you want to push out marketing materials and other sorts of things out through the web. So that's called stacking, when you're taking one tool, leveraging a second tool, and then leveraging a third tool. I think the power of prompts is really, it's really very magical. Has everyone?
Brian, can you go back to view slideshow? It's just the
Oh, sorry. My
That's
bad.
okay.
My bad. My bad. Yeah. So stacking, we talked about that, and then prompts. Have any of you used prompts before? Does everyone understand what a prompt is and how the GPT engines look at prompts? So when ChatGPT first came out, it was kind of like a new version of Google. Like I'd ask a question, then I'd get an answer. What prompts do is allow you to refine and sort of build on your answer. And so the methodology is you're going to give ChatGPT, in this case, it could be Claude, it could be any of the others. You're going to give them a role, an identity, a point of view, an expertise, or a profession. And they're going to then, you're going to literally say, act as if you are something, review this prompt, optimize it, and clarify answers and intent. So here's an example. Develop a content marketing strategy for a tech startup for the purpose of increasing brand awareness and engaging a niche market of tech enthusiasts. ChatGPT will act as a very experienced technology marketing strategist and draft blogs, social media posts, and e-newsletters. Ask me any questions before you proceed. So I'm going to take this down and let me show you what happens when you stick that inside of ChatGPT. Right? So it gives you the standard stuff, right? Kind of simple. Once I have a better understanding, and so now ChatGPT, because it's responding to my ask me any questions, now it's saying, once I have a better understanding of these aspects, I can draft a comprehensive content marketing strategy tailored to the startup's needs and target audience. All right, so who is our target audience? Anybody?
Little kids,
Okay, is little kids.
toddlers.
Who don't know how to type yet.
Oh.
All right, so let's see what happened. Understanding that your target audience is young kids and toddlers who don't know how to type yet opens up interesting opportunities for engaging content, interactive storytelling, games, right? So now it's sort of defining down. You're prompting it to give me more. Does this outline align with your goals for increasing brand awareness and engaging young children and their parents? Actually, no. I'd like to better understand how children can influence their parents to use our platform. So now I've flipped it. It's not the parents telling children, I'm going to buy you a thing. Now it's the how do children impact the parents, right? So we could go on and on and on, but the point of this is, if you're thinking about prompts, right? Always, it's really these sort of 4 ways: act as if, review this, optimize it, and then ask me clarifying questions before you proceed.
Brian, the thing I'd like to add is that I've used prompts probably the most of all of the tools you've talked about. And one of the issues I see is that if I'll ask it to do something and it goes right to jargon. It's like, tell me about something, and it uses catchphrases, and it isn't really innovative, insightful, unique. It's really just churning up what's sort of known about a subject and not giving you much original thought. So I just warn people, you need to edit like crazy and really look at the stuff with an eagle eye before you do anything with it.
Really, really, really good point. It's pretty obvious to most folks that something was written Chat GPT or Claude or something, because the language just isn't there yet. It's not a human, like, it's getting better and it's getting super close. But you can tell. I'll give you an example. Yeah, last night, or I guess this morning, I got an email from someone that said, "We're applying for this thing, da 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 da, and I'd like to partner with you." And they never asked me what I wanted to do, like what the partnership is, or they never said, "And here's what I want," or "Here's how a partnership looks to me." It's like, well, you didn't really write this. It was stilted. It was just weird. So, you can probably use prompts to filter out some of that bad sort of language kind of thing. But anyway, I'm a huge fan of prompts. It always is helpful. One of the things that we do is, when I present a company to our board of investors, we create I create a presentation based on SWOT, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. GPT helps me get started. It's not the thing that I'm ultimately going to present, but it helps me think through the issues. So I'll copy some material from the company, non-proprietary. I'll use prompts to sort of get me there, and it at least gives me a framework. I think it's a really great sort of time saver and accelerator in terms of getting things going forward. Anyway, prompts. All right, well, we saw the OSA video, and there are a lot of tools out there. So I'd encourage you to, like, you can't break any of this stuff, right? And the worst that might happen is you waste $100. So go out and have some fun, figure out sort of the 2 or 3 things you're really trying to tackle, and then go out and find the tools. And I'm going to give you a whole list here in just a second. Go out and find a bunch of tools that might be helpful to you. So some things that we want to consider. What's next? AI really can help streamline and scale customer interactions through pre-sale all the way through their interaction and quality control. A lot of tools out there on the customer side. Talent acquisition and management is a very powerful use of AI. There's a company called Workberry. Remember Workberry, the old Workberries? Well, it's WERKBERRY, that is now using AI to better place your talent ad on the jobs boards. It's super interesting what they're doing. It's called programmatic advertising, and it's super interesting. So AI can be certainly used for talent acquisition and management. Turn communications analysis into new opportunities. So if you're using tools that tell you your customers are unhappy or they didn't have good interactions, it can help you to quickly react to those challenges and monitor, and automate the communications for intent. You can certainly use future analytics, or better forecast future analytics, not only financially, but market trends, operationally. There's a lot of things that you can do by leveraging some of these tools. And rather than just doing a generic cold outreach, you can personalize outreach using some of the AI tools that you'll see here in just a second. You can facilitate improved internal processes. So applicants and research and target group analysis, all of these things are available to help you refine and improve your internal processes. Certainly analyze large sets of data, better understand the competitive landscape. We use that pretty effectively at Ben Franklin, where we're doing competitive research. There's tools out there that help to ground your decision in data. Sometimes it's hard to know exactly what to do unless you get a large enough data set that you can then cull down into a meaningful something. So that's really good. Oh, ground, dang it, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Sorry. Ground your decisions in data. And then finally, hone your ideas and your channels. You can use AI tools to pinpoint target markets and desires.
Brian, one of the things that I've seen some small businesses do is buy lists, right? I need a list of all the landscapers in Massachusetts because that's my target for my website building. Can an AI search go and do that for you?
I've not found a whole lot of success with some of the like better known AI tools. You know where I go for lists if that's what I'm interested in? The small business development centers, the SBDCs, are spectacular. They have, I don't know what they have. They have these magical tools that help companies really identify their target markets. Here's the challenge with lists. If you're just literally sending out 1 million emails and you're looking like spam, that's going to be a short-lived experience. So if you get your list and now you run it through various engines that can do a little research and then personalize the outreach, obviously way better. So sure, go get the list, do what you got to do. Again, in this list of tools, there will be some sales tools that claim to do this pretty well. I don't vouch for their ability to do that, but there certainly are a lot of tools out there that claim this. And it helps to personalize. We talked about it a page or two ago, right? Don't send me a spam. Send me something that's personal about my business, about me, that you know about what I am actually interested in. So just as a recap, AI is a tool. It's like fire and computers or the wheel. It's simply a tool. It's a tool you need to understand how to use, but that's all it is. The greatest danger is concluding that you understand it. AI is continuously evolving. There are always better tools coming out every single day. AI is going to make work more productive, engaging, and efficient. You know, at the end of the day, I want to feel like I've actually accomplished something for myself and my business and my colleagues. AI can help you get there. Embracing the use of AI will help create a better work and life balance, right? Instead of 16-hour days, now it's 12-hour days or 10-hour days. You can be more efficient through the use of AI. Thinking that AI will start doing what it wants is like thinking a calculator will start making its own calculations. It's not going to happen. Where we're at today, and certainly there's the regulatory environment that is taking a very hard look at how AI is evolving. It's not going to take over. At least I don't think it is. AI is an extension of our humanity and intelligence. It's really not a threat to it. And much like every technology, AI will plateau over time. And once again, AI will not kill your business. It's the people who know how to use it that will. So here's a whole bunch of resources. Again, Deborah will have this presentation. I'm right now taking this Amazon AI Ready course. It's about a 6-month course. It's super interesting. There's a lot of really good material in there, and it's free, and it's from Amazon, so it's really high quality. MIT has a course called AI Implications for Businesses. Again, super interesting. There's Coursera. There's lots of different learning platforms that have AI tools. Again, these are all links. So when you get the presentation, you just click there. And the one that I stole from that I really like is creating effective prompts. So those are some of the training things that I would highly recommend. Some of these tools, one of the more interesting things, if you go to look at Y Combinator, which is a technology company accelerator program, or Product Hunt, which is kind of the latest, coolest, greatest companies that are coming out, there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. And, sometimes you get a little bit of a doom scrolling going on, but it's actually pretty interesting. There's a lot of good stuff, a lot of really bad stuff, but it's worth it if you kind of caught a little bit of fire today and you're really looking at, well, what can I do for my business? Those are some really good places to find tools. And then finally, fastpedia.io. They're up to at least 100, but they'll be 900. They'll be at 1,000 anytime soon. And organized by, I need financial stuff, I need HR stuff, I need sales stuff. It's all very well organized. Think of it as an atlas, if you will. Does anyone do atlases anymore? Think of it like Google, but really, really well organized Google. So that's it, and that's me. And if you reach out on any of the social channels or through LinkedIn, I'm happy to engage, send you stuff, whatever you'd like to do. And I really appreciate the opportunity you've given me today.
Brian, why don't you stop sharing? I'll send your contact info. I'm going to actually start the first question before I stop recording because I think it's a relevant one and it'll tie us up. These are all small business owners. They are 100% busy all the time doing the things that go to their bottom line. This feels like a bright, shiny object to me. Like it's just a distraction. I could make those videos all day. How would you recommend somebody who has an operating business, plenty busy, whether it's running a retail operation, manufacturing something, consulting, as James is doing, headhunting? How do you figure out how to use which tool and where to prioritize your time?
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? Because there's so many shiny objects and one's cooler than the other. Figure out what your biggest challenge is, whether it's sales or finance or operations or whatever, marketing, whatever it might be. Figure out what your biggest challenge is, and then go find a couple of tools to play with to figure out how best that can be used. So that's one. Two, you're already in a group, right? You've got entrepreneurs forever around you. Talk to your friends, talk to your cohort members and ask, hey, here's the challenge I'm having. Here's one of the tools that I'm using. Have you used this? Do you have something better? So yeah, you can't eat the elephant all at once. What is the saying? You got to eat it one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
Just find the thing that you're working on and go experiment and learn and get more confident and crawl, walk, run.
All right. I am going to stop recording.